Hey gang, JD here, and in this video I'm going to show you some of the basics of how to do one of my favorite things, which is light tackle surf perch fishing. Now, I know a lot of people think of surf perch fishing as the domain of the heavy rod, the 8-ounce sinkers, the big pyramid sinkers, 40-pound test. Not much fun, just sort of a way to gather some meat. But if you scale your gear down, these little guys are a lot of fun. So here's kind of just the basics, and then at the end I'll tell you how to learn more about it.
Okay, Tori.
Yeah.
So we are going to start a little adventure with a bobber stop. The whole point of this guy is just to keep your sinker from
running up the line.
Yeah. So I'm gonna slide a bead on there. Take our sinkers. Boom. Boom. Then a little bumper bead. And next, a swivel. And we're just going to finish it off.
What knot are you using?
I'm using a Palomar right here. Super easy and really high strength.
And absolutely necessary if you're using braid, right?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so then we just slide that whole thing down like that. Becomes one big sinker. You could use one big sinker in lieu of two, but they get a little fatter and they just get pushed around a little more. So we're just trying to keep the profile. Okay, so we're gonna add the leader, nothing fancy.
Does it really matter? It's a couple feet.
3 feet, whatever, yeah. I mean, it's so chaotic down there.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a whole lot of, need to separate your sinker from the...
They're not leader shot?
No. So that's a owner rebarb hook.
Okay.
It's got that little...
Yeah, helps keep the worm on.
Yep. So you can use just a regular standard bait holder hook, or you can get fancy like this owner rebarb, and it's got this little plastic barb up by the eye, and that just helps hold the bait on better. Okay, so you can use sand crabs, but they're not always easily available. You can use mussels, shrimp. I just like this Berkeley Gulp stuff. Super easy. Always obtainable, And it's biodegradable, which is cool, I guess. And you gotta just be careful that when you get done using your worm, these things will dehydrate and turn into leather. And so, as it says, recharge, you can actually throw your old worm back in there. Okay, so we're just gonna thread it. Try to keep it nice and straight. Try to keep that hook down the center of the bait. You don't want it coming out the side.
Right.
And these sandworms are a little skinny, so it's...
Take some practice.
Yeah, a little bit of a precarious deal, but you just want to get him so he's, hanging straight like that. He's ready to fish. So what we're looking for, first off, you can kind of see it over here, steep beach.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is those waves come up on the steep beach and erode a bunch of stuff away in there, a bunch of sand, and that dislodges the sand crabs and stuff that they're picking off. So the other thing is, okay, you got the waves breaking, right? And there's a little trough right here against the beach. They're gonna run...
Between those sets?
Yep, they're gonna run this way.
Okay.
Now we could also find, I don't see one yet, but a rip where there's like a little river going back out to sea where it kind of carves a little trench and those perch will sit right there. So, but you can see it's deep right there.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna just give it a whirl, let's see if anybody's home.
Right.
And so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna throw it out and just slow crank it. One of the big mistakes guys make is throwing it way out. You have to do that a little more on a more gently sloping beach because the fish are further out, but on these steep ones like this, a lot of times 50 feet or less. And you can see the flow is going this way, so sometimes I'll do it almost like a side drift. Just kind of work down, cover a little more beach that way too. Oh, bite, we got a bite. Fish on! Woo! It's gonna be right here at your feet. Nice little red tail.
That's it, huh?
That's him.
Very cool. Looks like a giant
Bluegill.
perch, yeah. Gobbled it.
Oh yeah, he did.
It's coming out his gill plate.
So, red tail.
Look at that.
Pretty sweet though, huh?
That's cool. That's a cool looking fish.
Yeah, it is. These guys are really good to eat. And I let most of them go, but every once in a while I'll take a few. And this guy was bleeding, so we're gonna take him. And what you want to do is to make sure they stay fresh. As soon as you catch them, a lot of guys are throwing them in a bucket and they sit in water and just get really gross. So always keep a cooler with you. Cut the gills. Anything you're gonna eat, any fish, doesn't matter, salt or fresh. Always cut the gills, let them bleed out, and then put them right on ice, and then they're just gonna stay nice and fresh. Because these guys can get a little bit soft if you let them get too warm. So make sure you get them on ice immediately, and then maybe at some point we'll talk about how to cook these guys too. Okay, so what we're looking for in a perch beach, especially for these red tails, is nice sandy slope, and one that's got a steep angle to it. Those long, kind of shallow beaches where you have 14 sets of breakers that break hundreds and hundreds of yards offshore aren't as good because it's hard to get to where the fish are feeding. On these steep beaches, the water, when it's receding down the beach, churns up all the sand, pulls the sand crabs and food right into this little trough right here. Now, if you look right at the base of this beach, you know, a lot of guys feel like they have to throw a million miles out there. This green water right here, just, you know, a couple rod lengths away, there's a little trough between us and that first set of breakers. And those fish are traveling this line right here, eating all that sand crab and good stuff that's getting washed down the beach. So you don't have to make the big long cast here. You can have some rocks. Rocks are okay. Sometimes we'll get different types of perch mixed in when you have rocks. But just for like a straight red tail beach, this is perfect. Steep, sandy, nice little trough. And then you can also look for rips where the water's basically like a river coming back down the beach, carves a little channel, again, eroding a bunch of stuff and dislodging the food. And those usually, I don't see any right here, but there's a big white kind of channel going back out to sea. You can also look for gaps in the breakers. When you see the white water coming in, if there's a little section of the wave that's green between two sections of white, that usually indicates a channel, and those perch are going to be there. So that's another good spot to take a cast.
So basically, cast out.
Yep.
And then just reel slowly in.
Real slow.
So I just feel a little bit of tension from the weight.
Yeah, you know, you'll feel the one thing that takes a little getting used to is the, you know, as a wave surge or
that it
retreats, it pulls some tension on there, and
yeah.
sometimes a wave will break on your line. It feels kind of, but a bite is a.
like
I mean,
a trout bite.
yeah, they're faster though,
Okay.
and you'll know. You go, oh, that was a bite.
Yeah.
But
And you set the hook. You let them eat it. What do you do?
usually I let that one eat it. It turned out, but a lot of times after you get they're gone.
Okay.
So
So
set the hook. But you can see right now that whole current's going that way, so it's just like a river. Throw a little upstream basically, and no farther than, you know,
outside of that first wave.
yeah, just to where that wave's breaking right there.
Okay.
And what we're also looking for is you're finding these troughs against the bank, so you can see just from your river fishing that you know it's deep right here.
Right.
But you can also look for troughs going perpendicular to the beach, and you're looking for waves, like when a wave's breaking and there's a gap.
A break, yeah.
You know, it's like kind of right there might be one.
Yep. As the current's going back out.
Yeah, and that's the rip too.
Yeah.
So, like I caught that fish right over here. Now, of course, it's all moving around, but yeah, you just kind of slow.
Chuck and duck. Figure it out on the fly.
Yep.
All right.
Slow winding. And I was just kind of, you know, doing the poor man's drift boat.
Yeah.
See if we can't get ourselves some dinner.
I'm so excited.
So today the surf here is a little bigger than I typically like it for my light tackle perching, but it's still doable. So I've upgraded a little bit. Tori and I have. We're going with Steelhead rods, a little bit heavier than what we'd normally use, just because you have to use a little bit more weight in this heavier surf. But still, it's way lighter than the, oh, there's one. Fish on! Still a lot lighter than the big heavy gear that the guys typically use. Another nice little perch, slide him up right here. All right. Another red tail. Yeah, rinse them off. You got that gulp worm right there in the, whoa, corner of the jaw.
Oh, he took my worm. That. Whoa! Oh, there he's free. He's free. Hockey save. Oh.
These perch they migrate back and forth up and down the beach. I don't think they go out very far, but they cruise laterally along the face of the beach. And so we weren't getting bit there for a while, so we moved 20, 30 yards down the beach, and all of a sudden we got a double and we're getting bit almost every cast again. So if you're not getting bit, I got him that time. Little sucker's been tormenting me. Not very big, but still fun. Woo. Another little feller. The size of these guys might be the byproduct of my worm being bitten in half, and I'm using a half-size worm right now. Swing and a miss. The rapid fire.
Give me another chance.
There you go.
I wonder if I hooked it and it just got in a wave.
Oh, maybe.
As soon as I got tight.
Yeah. Well, you're getting the big ones.
Killer.
That's an eater.
Yeah, that's a big one. Nice.
Notice those teeth they've got in them?
No, I haven't, but I might notice right now.
Stick your finger in there. So you could be standing on the river with 5 trillion guys.
Yeah, exactly. Forget it.
Or you could be out here by yourselves catching fish pretty frequently. So we've been using the gulp sandworms, as you guys know, but you can catch fish using natural bait. And let's wait for a wave to come in. All right, so when this wave recedes, you're gonna see these bubble trails. And those are all sand crabs. Like there's one right there. That's what these perch are eating. Kind of gray, little wigglers. So whenever a wave washes back down one of these steep beaches, it erodes a bunch of sand and uncovers these guys. And that's why these perch are all right here in front of us. And that's kind of a mid to small size. They get a little bit bigger, but we'll let him go. One of the things, I do a lot of perch fishing in the summer, so I'm wading wet. Oop, there's a fish. Oh, I missed him. The only way to go with waders are boot foots. The stocking foot variety out here on the beach, you get way too much sand and gravel in between your booty and your shoe, and it just wears your waders out really fast. So these boot foots, no sand or gravel can get between your boot and your foot with these, and they're gonna last a lot longer.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a little bit about safety here. Whenever you're on the ocean, I don't care if you're building sand castles, flying kites, playing in the water, surf fishing, whatever. The basic rule of thumb is never turn your back on the ocean. Now, what got me thinking about this is I did exactly that. I turned my back to the ocean in this video. I just landed a fish, kneeled down, and we're taking a look at it. And a wave that wasn't exactly what you'd call one of these big sneaker waves, but just a little bit larger wave than normal came up and kind of knocked me off balance. It did knock me down, but you can see what can happen there in a hurry. You turn your back, a big wave comes, knocks you off your feet, and then we're fishing these steep beaches, of course, when we're targeting perch. So once you're down off your feet, the backwash of that water going back down the hill towards the surf line can suck you with it in a hurry. The basic rule is just always keep your eye on the ocean. And again, it's real easy to get distracted by, putting on a new piece of bait, retying a leader, unhooking a fish, fighting a fish, whatever. If you keep your eyes out on the horizon, out at the sea at all times, pay attention to what's going on, you're going to be okay out there.
Yes! Right on. I think I'm gonna just give up salmon guiding and just go straight to perch guiding.
Cool. Is that keepable size?
Yeah, borderline. Yeah, let him go. Let him go. That's good karma too.
Okay, so there you have it. That's kind of the basic look at this light tackle surf perch fishing that we like to do. If you'd like to learn more, visit my website, fishwithjd.com. You can also check out our YouTube channel, the same name. And then if you'd like to really get into this, there's a ebook that I wrote out there that's available at amazon.com. It's called Light Tackle Surf Perch Fishing, and it has lots of diagrams, how-to rigs, the meat and potatoes of what you're looking for here in surf perch fishing. So check that out. Again, it's on Amazon. It's called Light Tackle Surf Perch Fishing. Thanks for checking out the video. We will catch you next time.